Hello and welcome to episode 2 of According to Abbas. Right off the bat, I apologize if my energy level seems a little low because I've already tried to record this episode twice. The first time around, my phone randomly stopped recording in between and I had to start all over again. And the second time, my microphone malfunctioned and I wasn't able to get the desired audio. So, apologies to all the people who had given me feedback that I should be more energetic and show more enthusiasm while recording this. This episode is not going to be that episode. Regardless, thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe to the channel. I have been told that I should make the subscription appeal within the first 2 minutes. So, I think I have checked that off the list. And on today's episode, by the way, Jumpy is back. Jumpy is here. She's still checking out the books in the background. Once again, let's see if she sticks around for the entire recording. I was very impressed last time when she sat through my entire yammering session. Today, we are going to talk about a movie that was not on my radar at all, but given the great amount of content that has come out of it and all the reels and all the insane clips that have been going around of people losing their mind in the movie theater while watching this film, I decided to check that out. I'm of course talking about Saiyaara. So I'll tell you what I thought of the film and also why I think the film is doing well. I also want to briefly talk about Stephen Colbert's late night show getting cancelled. And I know it's an American show and it has probably very little to do with the Indian comedy scene or Indian comedy in general. But I think what's happening with the American late night scene right now is somewhere thinly attached to what's happening in our country and also the rest of the world. And we'll talk about the biggest story of the internet in the last week, the Coldplay Jumbotron Fiasco. And I thought before we wrap up, we'll say goodbye to Ozzy Osbourne. Just a few hours before I started recording this, we got the news that Ozzy has passed away. So, without further ado, let's get into my thoughts on Saiyaara. So, Saiyaara is the latest romantic drama / tragedy directed by Mohit Suri. It stars Ahan Pandey and Aneet Panda in lead roles. This film has been making a lot of waves because of its music. The music was something that was applauded a lot. The film, by the way, credits 8 music composers for its music. So, check that out, figure that out. And this film, of course, has been making a lot of noise because of the insane clips that have been going around of people tearing their shirts and hugging and kissing their girlfriends and wives that they are with, and people fainting in movie halls and crying really loudly. This is the kind of stuff that was known for horror films. Like, I used to hear stories of how, like, when The Exorcist was released, that people used to faint because of the content of the film. But this is not a horror film. This is very much a romantic film, and I should mention that I do realize that I am not the target audience for this film. This film is, of course, aimed at a much younger crowd, Gen Z to be precise, and I am not youth. I am far from youth. I am 37 years old. When I was growing up, youth was 18 to 37-year-olds. That used to be the TG, which used to get marketed as 18 to 35-year-olds, actually, which used to get marketed as young people. Now I think it's somewhere like, I don't know, 14 to 29 or something like that. When I was going through Mohit Suri's filmography, I realized that the only 2 Mohit Suri films that I have seen are actually Avarapan and Kalyug, and they are like from the early 2000s, if I'm not early to mid 2000s. So yeah, I'm not that crowd. I am the indie bhindi meaningful cinema Hollywood superhero award-winning crowd. So I'm aware of that as well. But what intrigued me or what piqued my interest was that because of these clips doing the rounds of people going crazy and these memes that are coming out, there's a lot of this conversation going around. Is this cringe cinema? Is this the kind of cinema that we have stopped making? And is this made for a specific kind of an audience which likes films like Tere Naam, or which likes films from a bygone era, if you will? So I thought it was worth checking out, and I did. And I have opinions. So I'll tell you what I thought of the film while watching it, and I also will try and decipher why I think this is doing so well. Once again, I'm not a filmmaker, I'm not even a film critic. I just like watching films and analyzing them and talking about them. So I'm going to be approaching it from that lens because I'm not cinematically literate enough to say, oh, this particular filmmaking technique is what makes this special, or this particular screenplay style is what makes it unique. No, I watched the movie. The film didn't quite work for me, but I think it has some very interesting things to say. And what I want to concentrate on is again this idea of cringe versus earnestness. I think Saiyaara is a film that commits to what I can only call earnest Hindi film tropes or earnest Hindi filmmaking ideas. Something that used to be very commonplace in the 2000s or in the 90s. Because of the social media landscape, that earnestness sometimes gets misquoted or misidentified as cringe. So, is Saiyaara a cringy movie? Not really. I think that it's a Bollywood romantic tragedy in a vintage sense. Like, you think of even a film like, let's say, Qayamat Se Qayamat Tak, which came out in 1989. It's a tragedy. It launched two new stars. This film is more or less kind of launching new stars. Ahan Pandey, I think this is his debut. I think he's a social media influencer. But this is his first film as far as I know. Please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Of course you will. So I'll tell you in brief what the plot of Saiyaara is. The IMDb plot is a one-line synopsis that tells you absolutely nothing. Vani and Krish will have to navigate life, their problems, their insecurities to hopefully realize that only love can be the answer to everything. So unique. But anyway, Ahan plays Krish Kapoor, who's like this upcoming musician who plays in a band called Josh. I don't know if that's an homage to the Shah Rukh Khan Sharat Kapoor film, but Josh, the music of Josh is very reminiscent of the earlier J bands of the 2000s, Junoon, Jal, and a couple others. And this guy is big on authenticity. I was surprised to see that he even has a line in the film that says कि आजकल का music तो बस rap और R&B हो गया है. Where's the real music? At one point he even writes for a musician called Prince. Not that Prince. This Prince in this film is like a sort of a combination of the Badshahs and the Honey Singhs of this world. Krish is a great musician, but apparently he sucks at writing lyrics, which is where he comes across Vani. Vani works as a podcaster, a podcast host rather. Krish's opening scene is very Kabir Singh coded because he enters the magazine office and he starts beating up the editor left, right, and center. And I thought, oh no, is this going to be one of those films again where an alpha male will show his alphaness and the woman will get impressed by it? But that's not quite how the film goes. The character of Krish later on then does show tenderness and he does lover boy things. But he's very much the alpha male who's asking his who yells at the heroine and he asks her to write lyrics for him and so on and so forth. And they fall in love, and this is where the kind of spoilers come in. Around the interval point, we find out that the Vani character actually has early onset Alzheimer's, which happens, according to the film, in 0.4% of the world's population, and our protagonist just happens to be one of those 0.4% people. So that happens, and then the second half is about how Vani starts losing memory, and eventually you know that she's going to forget Krish, and what will happen? Will they meet or will they not? The rest you have to find out by going to the movie theater. When I say that this film commits to some Hindi film tropes, I'll give you an example. So for example, in this film, when Vani is diagnosed with the Alzheimer's thing, I was reminded that this whole concept of yaddasht kho jana used to be such a big thing in movies while we were growing up in Hindi films. And then again, somewhere along the way, we started scoffing at things like that. कह रही ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है, याददाश्त कोई कैसे भूल सकता है. Now, I'm not saying that it completely went away. For example, in Jawan, I remember that the elder Shah Rukh Khan has this subplot where he's forgotten everything, like he's lost his memory. But then it comes back because of the click of the gun, and it's played for a moment. It's played for that euphoric moment where the audience will cheer and jump out of their seats when it eventually happens, right? What this film commits to is the fact कि हाँ इनकी याददाश्त जा रही है, जाएगी और आप देखेंगे जाते हुए, right? That sadness, that feeling is eked out of you. And that's the other thing. Does this film try to manipulate your emotions? You bet it does. Another example is, for example, like the lip sync, right? Lip syncing is something we started to scoff at and be like, अरे ऐसे कैसे गाना लोग गाने लगेंगे. Now in this film, of course, Krish Kapoor, when he's singing on stage, he's lip syncing to the songs, but the feel of the songs is very much there. It's a romantic song. These two lovers who are in love with each other are singing to each other. So there is a certain earnestness that Mohit Suri and the writers and the actors, the two leads. By the way, Ahan Kapoor, I think, is quite good. I'm assuming, or rather, I'm predicting. Should I make predictions on this show? I'm predicting he's going to be really, really huge in the next couple of years. So that's what I'm talking about. कि एक हिंदी फिल्म देखने में जो एक earnestness हुआ करती थी, and there is, again, you attach a certain label to an audience that watches let's say a film like a Tere Naam. If you had to label this as a genre, if you say this is the Dukh Dard Majnoo genre, where a man is yearning for the woman's love, in this particular film he's got the love of the woman and now it's fading away, so now he has to work very hard to sort of to sort of bring it back, right? Now a huge swath of the Indian audiences like watching this, who like the yearning of a hero wanting the love or wanting to win back or going to win back the love of his heroine. Again, it's something that was the staple of Hindi cinema for years, and then I think it started going away. And in the last couple of years, okay, here's where I stand with Saiyaara. It may not have worked for me, but I would take this any day over the propaganda-laced films that have been coming out of the past couple of years, where the audiences who come out of theaters come out with saying कि अरे इनको सिखा देंगे, इनको बता देंगे, ऐसा ही होता है, इन्होंने तो दिखा दिया क्या होता है, ऐसा वैसा. If as compared to that, people are crying and fainting in the movie theater and hugging and kissing their partners, I don't think that's such a bad thing. And as someone who likes films, I strive for variety and I strive for coexistence. So there are only so many action massy films that I can see where the actor is completely taking a machete and beheading the goons or henchmen and shooting them with a machine gun. Like, sure, do I enjoy that from time to time? Absolutely. But if a film like Saiyaara does well, if this gives leverage to 5 other films to be made where, let's say, young romance is explored or a softness of love is explored, then sure, I'm all for it. So yeah, I mean, like I keep going back to that word, like earnestness, and it works in most part. I just want to say a word about the music. So I went in expecting like a banger soundtrack. Of course, Mohit Suri is known for making films that have amazing music. He's collaborated so much with Imran Hashmi, and even like I mentioned, Avarapan, Kalyug, even a film like Crook had great music. I liked the music of Saiyaara, but I think there's only the one last title track which comes towards the end, which is like an absolute banger. Like, it does justice to where it's placed in the movie, and it's very well shot and very well done. So I think in that sense, that's the one song that stood out. But overall, would I recommend Saiyaara to you? If you're someone who's grown up on a staple diet of Hindi cinema, Hindi romantic cinema, I think you will like Saiyaara. And nobody in my screening tore their shirt or fainted, but there were a few sniffles, and even my eyes blurred, my vision blurred a little bit towards the end. Another interesting thing that now I'm just telling you some observations that I made. There was one scene, his intro scene, Krish's intro scene, where he's riding a bike and smoking, and there was a helmet pehno wala warning at the side of the screen, which I have not seen before. uh, is that new? Is that something that appears often in films? So it was like helmet pehno and dhumrpan buri cheez hai, like two double whammy of warnings by the censor board. So, in conclusion, if you are a sad boy who wants to feel the sadness and feel the emotions and relive your trauma of a relationship that you have had, then you can go watch Saiyaara. If I had to give it like a percentage out of 100, I would give it like a 55%. That's a very weird rating scale, but that's what it is. Okay, I want to talk about Stephen Colbert's late show getting cancelled. Stephen Colbert announced that CBS has cancelled the Late Show. It'll go off air in May. And though the channel has quoted that the show has been cancelled for quote unquote strictly financial reasons, there is a lot of speculation about the fact that because Stephen Colbert was very critical of the current US government and the current US president, that some favors have been pulled and some strings have been pulled to get this decision made. And there's speculation that the Daily Show from Jon Stewart, or which Jon Stewart also features on, might also get the axe. And South Park, another very satirical funny show, might also be in trouble. अब ये देख के मैं सच बताऊँ ना, मेरे को बड़ा मज़ा आया, क्योंकि मुझे लगा अच्छा अमेरिका द लास्ट बैस्टियन ऑफ फ्री स्पीच वगैरह जो बोलते हैं कि भाई यहाँ फर्स्ट अमेंडमेंट एंड ऑल ऑफ दिस, मैं सोचा भाई तुम भी वहीं जा रहे हो ना जहाँ सब बाकी सब जा रहे हैं, जहाँ हम भी जा चुके हैं और जहाँ शायद हैं. पीपल हु मेड फन ऑफ पीपल इन पावर आर गेटिंग पनिश्ड, राइट, इवन इन अ कंट्री लाइक अमेरिका. और ये मैंने सोचा अच्छा तो कॉमेडी भाई तुम्हारे यहाँ भी खतरे में आते जा रही है धीरे धीरे, तो देखेंगे हम मज़ा. इट्स इंटरेस्टिंग, इट्स सैड ऑल्सो. सो आई हैव ऑलवेज बीन फैसिनेटेड बाय द लेट नाइट टॉक शो इन अमेरिका. मुझे याद है जब जे लेनो और कोनन ओब्रायन वाली पूरी कंट्रोवर्सी हुई थी, NBC टुक बैक कोनन ओब्रायंस टुनाइट शो, लाइक दे टुक द शो बैक फ्रॉम हिम टू गिव इट टू जे लेनो. और उस वक्त आई थिंक कोनन को 3 महीने दिए गए थे टू रैप अप द शो, एंड in those 3 months he absolutely skewered NBC. और मैं उस टाइम पे वो देख के इतना सरप्राइज़ हुआ था कि ये कैसे हो सकता है कि कोई बंदा जिस चैनल पे है, जिस नेटवर्क पे है, वो उसी का मजाक उड़ा रहा है. लाइक इवन बैक देन, दिस आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट प्रॉब्ली 2008 or 9, I couldn't fathom that. Like in our country, even at that time, I'm like, the channel that you are on, they are your my baap. You can't say anything. You only have to say good things about them. Now, अब थोड़ा बहुत शायद नेटफ्लिक्स वगैरह पे वो थोड़े बहुत मजाक उड़ा सकते हैं आप नेटफ्लिक्स के एंड व्हाट हैव यू, लेकिन उस टाइम पे भी ये था कि यार ये कैसे, ये इतना पावर कैसे है एक लेट नाइट टॉक शो होस्ट के पास कि वो अपने ही चैनल के जो बंदा या बंदी उनके चेक साइन कर रहा है, ये उन्हीं का मजाक उड़ा रहा है, एंड द चैनल पेज फॉर द शो. सो आई रिमेंबर कोनन ओब्रायन स्टार्टेड स्पेंडिंग insane amounts on the show. Like he would buy a Bugatti and he would like spray graffiti on it, or buy expensive paintings and draw over them during the show and stuff like that. That power of having a late night talk show host on your network and also be critical of the network, that gave leeway enough that you could also make fun of the president. But now I think that is going away. I think the late night talk show scene anyway has deteriorated a lot because अब सब कुछ on demand है. I think in the next 5 to 10 years, I don't think the landscape of late night talk shows will be the same that it is. And it's sad, but it's also very interesting क्योंकि मई तक स्टीवन कोलबर्ट के पास टाइम है खिल्ली उड़ाने का, मजाक उड़ाने का, अपनी अथॉरिटीज़ का. And I'm sure, like all said and done, like I said, that okay, free speech or whatever comedic free speech is being taken away, but I can be rest assured that in the 1 year that Colbert has, he will absolutely dismantle and make a lot of fun of the president and the CBS network. So that will be fun to watch. Alright, moving on. So if you have been on the internet in the last week, the biggest story has been a Coldplay concert where a couple was caught cheating on a Jumbotron. And when this story broke, I thought, okay, like shit like this goes viral on Reddit every other week. Like someone is caught cheating, and the Reddit people go down the rabbit hole and find out who's who and who's doing what and what happened to them. So I thought, theek hai, okay, someone was caught cheating, and okay, this is like a 2 day Reddit thread excitement, and it'll fade out. But it didn't. It just spiraled, and for a good 1 week, about 5 to 6 days, the entire internet was resembling a gossipy auntie slash uncle session, and it was beautiful. It reminded me of 2011 era Twitter, where we would obsess over any small immaterial thing and just start bombarding that topic so much that it would eventually then become a trending topic, and then we would all celebrate that yes, we did it, we made this minuscule stupid thing something that the entire Twitter talks about. Of course, there's a whole debate going on of is this cancel culture, because a guy lost his job because of something he was doing in his personal time in a concert, even though the person he was with was or having an affair with was also from the same organization. So sure, you can make that argument, and I'm sure there are podcasts which are making that argument. This is not that podcast. When the entire internet became a gossip session, it was fun, and the memes were funny, and it was like the good old days. Funniest meme I saw was that pose of Chris Martin, which is very funny, where he's playing the piano and is just kind of creepily looking at the camera, and it said "Na khaunga, na khane dunga." That was funny. And finally, on a sad note, just a few hours before I started recording, we got the news that Ozzy Osbourne has passed away. I thought I'll talk about this because in the last episode I spoke about Black Sabbath and Ozzy's last concert, back to the beginning. In that episode, I had mentioned that the time to watch these rock legends is running out, and um, who knew that just 2 weeks after that show, Ozzy Osbourne would leave us all. I thought to sign off, I'll just list down my 5 favorite Ozzy Osbourne songs. And once again, just reiterate that the guy got to say goodbye to his fans on his terms one last time at a massive concert with all his heavy metal buddies and friends and, offsprings, if you will, spiritually. And he got to do it in Birmingham, where he grew up. Like, that's one of those fairy tale endings that one can only dream of. And Ozzy Osbourne got that. And I just want to share one little story about Ozzy, which just came back to me when I heard about his passing. In 2005, when I was 17 years old, I got admission in dental college in Bangalore, and I was leaving Bombay to go to Bangalore. And that was like the first time that I would be away from home, and I was sort of going away, leaving, being on my own. It was detaching myself from the safety of my home for the first time. And in the train ride where मैं अपना पूरा बोरिया बिस्तर लेके बैंगलोर जा रहा था, तो उस वक्त we used to burn blank CDs as MP3s, and I had burnt a blank CD with 3 albums. I think one was Nora Jones's "Come Away With Me" because it had won like 8 Grammys and it was like the talk of the town. The other was Linkin Park's "Meteora," and the third was Ozzy Osbourne's "Greatest Hits." So I remember the train journey, which takes about 24 hours to go from Kalyan to Bangalore. I spent a lot of those listening to Ozzy's music, and so it's this very weird juxtaposition of villages and interiors and farms of Maharashtra and Karnataka, which you see on the train ride with Ozzy's music playing. But I do remember thinking that life is going to change now, and who knows what lies ahead. And through it all, the soundtrack that was playing in my head was Ozzy Osbourne. So yeah, that just came to my head, so I thought I'll share it. But rest in peace, Ozzy. You are one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time. And I will sign off by telling you my 5 favorite Ozzy Osbourne songs. So I am a huge fan of Ozzy's ballads, the slow romantic slash introspective songs that he does. So at number 5, I would go with "Life Won't Wait," which is from his album Scream. So Ozzy's last 4 albums, despite his health deteriorating, are really kick-ass. Scream is a great album. There's an album he made called, I think, "No Ordinary Man," which is amazing. And then he put out one, I think, late last year, or early this year maybe, which is an all collaborations album, which is also amazing. But Life Won't Wait is a great song about time passing you by, and grasping life by its balls and making the most of it. It has got a great use of acoustic guitar. And number four, my favorite song would be another ballad, which is called Dreamer. Dreamer is a song that was his homage to the Beatles. Ozzy always wanted to write a song in the vein of Imagine by John Lennon. So the instrumentation and chord progression is somewhat similar, and the song lyrics are very simple and even little cliche about togetherness and peace and love, again because it's inspired by the Beatles and the 60s. So Dreamer is a great song. Number three, I would say, is Crazy Train, which is the signature Ozzy Osbourne song from his first album, Blizzard of Oz, which announced his arrival on the rock scene. Great guitaring by Randy Rhoads, just amazing riff. That's a song that even a non-metal fan or a non-rock fan would know. So Crazy Train at number three. Number two would be No More Tears. Great song. It has a wonderful bass line. Very like a very typical 90s music video if you watch it, but the song does a lot of things. It goes soft towards the middle, then picks up again, but it has got great riffage, great guitaring by Zakk Wylde. And number one, a song that I've already played 3 times since I heard the news of his passing away, and that's a song I'll always remember Ozzy by. Another wonderful ballad called Mama I'm Coming Home. That's a great song, and it just tugs at my heartstrings, and I will miss Ozzy, and I will keep listening to his music. And do check out Ozzy's albums. Blizzard of Oz, Black Rain is a great album, and put in your favorite Ozzy album or song in the comments if you like. Not just that, if you whatever thoughts you have about Saiyaara, you can put them in the comments. If you have any thoughts about Stephen Colbert and where late night talk show is going, please tell me. And once again, please subscribe to the channel. I'm still open to feedback. I'm still trying to put this out and do things on my own, trying to figure out a voice and a way to do this show. So any feedback is welcome. Put it in the comments or DM me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is AbbasMomin88. You can reach me on Twitter or X at AbbasMomin. And yes, thank you so much. It's been a long day. Hopefully this third time I'm able to get the episode out. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time very, very soon.